All right, everyone. It is Friday, and you know what that means? It's time for Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I am excited today. I'm one of your co-hosts, Damon Pistolka. That pretty gentleman right over there is Curt Anderson, and we are going to be talking about web design for manufacturers and making that first impressions that make sense. I can't even talk. I'm so excited today. And I've rehearsed this title line several times.
That's every day, dude. You're just so excited every day. Can't you just feel the enthusiasm, the passion just coming right through the screen, right?
Ready to go. I'm just telling you, I'm ready.
You're great, right? All right. So hey, let's start with how about this amazing, incredible woman right here. So Paula Santana, Paula, happy Friday. How are you?
Good, thanks. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, great to have you here. And how about I always get how that handsome devil down there,
point
right?
downwards because I'm above Jason.
Yeah, like Jason Deering's in the house. Jason, happy Friday. How are you?
Happy Friday, everyone.
How's everyone? Family's good. Everybody's good. Wonderful. Every good week. Everybody's doing good. Like we're in the spring, all that stuff, right?
Waiting for the pool to open.
Outside.
Wow. Okay, so all right, we've got a ton to cover, and we're going to keep this one, it's Friday. People have things to do. They're busy. We're going to fast and furious. We're going to talk about making great first web impressions with your website, in particular, website design for manufacturers. Now, Jason, you've been doing this for a long time. On occasion, we come across a manufacturer like they are just phenomenal. They're awesome. They've been around for 50 years, 100 years. Unfortunately, just their website is not the absolute top priority. And so just as the world has been changing, they're trying to become more competitive. Now the website's becoming more of a top priority. What are one of the first things that you like to do when you're working with a client? Like what's kind of like 101? Where do you start to create that great first web impression with their website? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, very first thing that we talk about is who they're targeting. Their niche, their main buyer personas that they're going after. We need to really understand that and get a good feel of what their business is and how they're serving their customers. We want to make sure we're speaking the correct languages that their customers speak, saying the correct things that are going to allow the customer to understand that this company has those solutions to solve their issues. Mm-hmm. So right off the bat, we need to understand the company and who they're selling to. That's number one. And then everything kind of spills out of there. Their content, their design of their website, the interior pages. That all comes from those first discussions about who they're selling to and who they are, or who they are as a business.
Right. What do you thought, Damon? Are you on mute?
Sorry. Yeah,
see how excited he was. Like he even threw himself on mute. Just so
I was so excited. I didn't want. But I think the thing about manufacturers, right, and going through a few of the websites and being in those companies before is. We're so excited to talk about this brand new $1 million piece of equipment that we put on the floor that makes things so super slick, fast, whatever. And really understanding your customers and what your customers really care about is kind of left in the dust sometimes when you look at these websites for custom manufacturers specifically. And it's just something that I know you've helped us point out and see with Curt and Paula and the team. And it's just a good thing when you realize that.
So, all right. So let's dive into clarity a little bit. So Paula, you do an amazing job. I know you're very modest, very humble. So we're going to break that trend a little bit. So you do a phenomenal job helping out with like creating mock-ups. And, we have this little line, like when you try to be everything to everyone, you become nothing to no one. So I think you do a great job of kind of like pushing back and kind of like keeping that focus. Any thoughts like that clarity with messaging? Any thoughts when like you're creating your mock-ups? What do you have there?
Yeah, so one of the things that stands out to me the most is you kind of have to come from the customer's viewpoint. And so kind of building off what Jason was saying earlier, we ask them who their target audience is. That's a good starting point. But then we have to come at it also from a customer's point of view. So asking certain questions, understanding who the audience is, but not only understanding the audience, who they are, but what questions they're asking, why are they coming to this website, what to learn. And so one of the first things I'm always looking for, or kind of give my 2 cents in when the mock-ups come to me or after I have to create it, is what information am I seeing first? What information should be first? And that kind of goes and ties in with to what Jason is, not only knowing the audience, but then the next question is, what are the processes behind the scenes when they talk to a salesperson, when they talk to the owner, when they talk to whomever they're talking to at the company? You got to have to take it out from the customer's perspective and dive into how are they processing the information when they first are coming on to like kind of get into their mindset, and then how we're presenting that information to them. So always keep that in mind. Like, it's great from the company's viewpoint, but ultimately we're serving the customer. We're answering their questions and their objections. And so we always have to take a step back and be like, okay, now how am I viewing this website if I was a customer and I need to get in here and learn about the company or ask questions about the product or service I'm looking to get from this company?
Yeah, I love that. So, Damon, what do you have?
Well, I've got a question for you, Curt, and this is because Paula got me thinking about it. Great information, Paula, because this is one of the things. As you're working with people, Curt, how much does the customer journey play into this whole thing, and really as tie into what Paula said about, the right content, the right place, and going through that?
Well, it's all about the buyer's journey, right? And so the thing is, in kind of like packaging it all together. And Jason, I'm going to come to you because next we're going to dive kind of talk like that first, like that hero section. I want to dive into that, but let's go here, Damon. When our dear friend Allison DeFord taught us a really wonderful, amazing, hysterical little line, right? Damon, what is, if I say the wee-wee syndrome, what is the wee-wee syndrome?
The wee-wee syndrome is when you're looking at your website and it says, we do this, we have great quality, we have awesome people, we have awesome equipment, we deliver on time. It's just, there's so much we's that the customers really don't care about.
Right. And and I think, Jason, if you go to like the Wayback Machine and you go like when Jason built my my website about B2B tail when COVID hit, if I have it like we and it's like it's now like it's like nails on a chalkboard for those of us old enough to remember a chalkboard, right? So so I think the big thing, Damon, to that point is we want to make it all about them. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What do we, as human beings, what do we think about all day, every day? Ourselves, right? Like, what problem do I have? So as a manufacturer, you're targeting that engineer, you're targeting somebody in procurement, somebody in purchasing. And like, how do we like, hey, you in purchasing, you in engineering, I got you. I understand your problems. So Jason, let's talk about the hero image. You've done, 180 some websites that you've built in your career. You've really studied, in detail, like, the structure of a website. Let's talk about the top portion, like the hero section. Why is that's so important to catch them right there? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just to start this conversation, I would like to just start with, a lot of web developers, a lot of people that are looking for websites are looking for a website that just looks fantastic, has all kinds of bells and whistles and all that kind of thing. Though that does draw attention to people, but it doesn't tell them what you do and how you're going to help them, right? And sometimes it pushes them away if they can't figure that out right away. So right off the bat, they have to understand the content is the most important thing on the page, right? Yep. So the content has to make them understand that you are the solution for their issues. So, and when we start in that hero section, that first top section underneath the navigation, your logo and all that beautiful stuff, the next main section that people see, and it's usually the first thing, if it's done well, it's the first thing that catches their eye as that page loads, is what is normally called the hero section. And that usually has a strong graphic, whether it's a background graphic or a graphic maybe to the side, that shows what you're doing for them, right? It kind of shows the industry or it matches, right, the content that you're putting there. The headline needs to be a strong, engaging headline, has to hook them. It has to tell them between the headline and the subheadline or the complementary text in that hero section, that has to explain exactly what problems you're solving, right? Who you're solving that problem for, and briefly tell how you are accomplishing that. And that all needs to be done in that hero section in just a couple sentences. It can be difficult, but it is probably the most important thing you have on your website. Because if you don't nail that, they're not going further below the hero image, and they're not going into an internal page at all. They're coming there. If you just say, hey, welcome to our website in that hero section, they're going to say, well, it was a nice visit, I'm gone. They're not going to, they don't have time to look through everything. The chances of them going down the page is going to be a lot less, because when they hit that page, they don't know who you're talking to, what you're doing with your company or website, and they immediately will start feeling lost and afraid that they're in the wrong place, and they will bounce and they'll go back to the next search result in Google.
Right.
Yeah. So generally it's like the answering the biggest pain that your client has or your customer has. You're answering it in that quick, that little banner or big banner or, amazing animation, whatever you decide to use. But basically you're answering the biggest objection, the biggest pain, and broadcasting that you have the solution for that biggest problem they're having, and everything else is just supporting that saying, phrase, or question.
Awesome. Well, Damon, what do you have? Because we're going to put Paula on the spot here. What do you have?
No,
Damon?
I think that's the real thing that people have to know now is like we look at our websites and we're going to look through them, right? We're going to read through them, but you just think about yourself. Think about you looking at other websites, and if that website doesn't grab you right away, you're gone. Right? Your potential customers, your existing customers, they're doing the same thing when they hit your website. If that thing is not grabbing their attention for them to want to read down the page, learn more about what's next, click on that call to action, it's got to grab them and hook their attention to do it. Otherwise, just like all of us listening, all of us on this, we go to the next one, as Jason said.
Right. And it's important, like, practice what you preach, right? Because you can go to, we could go to B2B tail, or you could go to whatever, website, it's, you're always going to find something,
Yeah.
But another tip I'd like to encourage folks to do is sometimes you get so close to your website, have somebody take a look at it. Have a friend, a family, your dog, I don't know, have somebody. Jason, when we had the e-commerce business back in 20 years ago, like if a spouse or like somebody's kids came into our office, I'd be like, hey, come here a second, and we'd sit them down and be like, hey, what do you think of that page right there? Hey, try to buy something. What do you and we would stand over their shoulder watching them, right? Remember that, Jason?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's a thing, like there's some technical tools that we used to use in the e-commerce business too, like Hotjar is one of them, where people click. And it's amazing how you'll spend all this time to design a page. You think people are going to instinctively know where they need to click, and you're going to find that they're clicking the stuff that you go, why? And hundreds of people are doing it. So, yeah.
Just don't show my mom, because my mom will tell me everything is great.
Yeah, Damon, our moms do the same thing. It's like, hey, that's what good moms do. So, all right, I know we're going to keep this session a little bit on the short side, but again, thank you for joining us. If you're here, drop a note, let us know where you're coming from. Connect with Jason Deering on LinkedIn. Connect with our dear friend Paula. Hey, while you're at it, connect with Damon and myself. We'd love to hear what you guys have going on, but drop any questions. We're here talking about website design strategies, in particular for manufacturers, how to make that great first impression. We like to call it, Jason, webpressions, right? Those great webpressions. Got them sleeping. So, all right, Paul, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you mind if I pull up one of your beautiful pieces of work?
Let's see it.
And Damon, you're going to love it. Jason, everybody's going to love it. So I just spoke with this client. All right, I'll give you the good news after. Let's take a look. Let's take a peek. You guys are going to be thrilled. So this is a mock-up, okay? And can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
You sure can. Okay, so let's go here. Paula, what I absolutely love, I'm going to move some things around here. And I'm going to start with, I want to point out something. I would love for you to kind of share what's going on here. Now, you take a look at what Paula did. So she created this mock-up for a client. They are a ground strap manufacturer incredible, wonderful ground straps. It's a multi-gazillion dollar industry. Everything that draws a current needs to be grounded. These guys are made in USA. They do incredible work. Now, Paula, what I love is, Damon, did you notice there's no weebie on this page, right? So, Paula, talk to us a little bit about how you created the structure for this page.
Well, we started off with actually creating a guide or a buyer's guide surrounded around this. And honestly, the copy is not my own. It's literally taking what our amazing copywriter on our team, Amy, she put that together. And I just really built off of that. And so again, kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, is we're basically putting ourselves and the customer in their own shoes as they're going through this guide. Like, what is a ground strap? Why do I need it? And is it solving the problems that I need? And honestly, I just wanted to keep something really clean. I like my answers. And when I go on a website, I mean, I love fancy websites, but the truth of the matter is I'm on a website because I need an answer to a question that I have, or I need a solution to a problem that I'm experiencing, or I'm trying to simplify a bottleneck, whether in my personal life or in my business. So I always looking for the most critical information that I need, that I'm looking to get answers from. And so I kind of just went from that and just started kind of going through, taking that guide and just pulling out the pieces of it, not everything. Because for our goal on this particular page is we want our customers on this page to download that guide so they have everything, all the resources that they need in their hands, whether on their computer or if they're out in the field and they're like, does this company provide the right strap for me? And I can go with my tablet or my cell phone. And so this will be obviously mobile and tablet optimized. But the goal is just to get them the most important information that's going to answer the questions that they're most likely asking at the moment that they're looking at this.
I absolutely love, and so a few things I want to point out. Like, number one, here at the top, we've got, what we call our RICs. Damon, what are our RICs? Can you explain to everybody what are our RICs?
Those are the ridiculously important keywords.
That's right. So what these guys are aggressively, it's a small family business. They're going up against like Amazon, McMasterCard, like anybody that sells ground straps, Fortune 500 companies. And like they have great rankings all over the place for their RIC ground straps. And here's what I love. We were kidding around about the wee syndrome, but man, we were being dead serious. Like, as soon as I see the word wee, Damon, it's like, I cringe now, right? But ground straps, you can trust. And what I love what you did here, Paula, is like you're telling soulmate, hey, soulmate, I know you're busy. I know you're looking all over the place. You can trust these. These are built for safety and built to last. And down here, you've got IPC certified. So if you're in the electrical world, you know exactly what that is. RoHS compliant, you know exactly what that is. And then right here, like whatever time or day that you catch this, we're in the midst of a little bit of tariff. I call it the tariff roller coaster, if you will. But these guys, they were getting beat up pretty bad on Amazon and some places with foreign imports, and so the tariffs might help a company like this. But anyway, here's the exciting news. Jason, Damon, Paula, you ready for a little drum roll? Who's got a drum roll? Jason, you got a drum roll? I just talked to the client this morning. So this particular product line of his company, he's up over 40% for this product line. So he is just absolutely on. He's on cloud nine, just over the moon. And so, like, again, it's that consistency. So, Jace, we're going to start winding down. I wanted to talk about real quick, hit a couple bullet points, speed, mobile, just hit those points for anybody out there catching.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, people, this is not 2010 any longer. People are using their phones to view websites almost primarily. It does change depending on industry and niches a little bit, but primarily it's more than 60% of everyone is using their phones to view their websites. So everything you have in terms of a web page, every page needs to be responsive, meaning that it reshapes itself and it looks awesome on any browser that you're looking at, whether it's your iPhone, your Android phone, your iPad, your Amazon or Samsung Galaxy, whatever tablet you have, whatever desktop you have, whatever laptop you have, whatever device you're using to view the website, and it has to look absolutely phenomenal. You also you want to make sure that your site is accessible and easy to view. It's easy to view if your visitor has any kind of handicaps, visual handicaps, or anything of that such. So, like if they're colorblind, your colors can't be affecting them. They have to be able to read that page. You have to have the contrasting colors right. So text isn't getting blended into that background color or an image or something like that. We want to make sure as many people as possible can use your website without any issues.
Yep.
And then speed. everyone's on their phones. Everyone has socials going. Everyone has something taking their attention away. Everyone's developing ADHD, whatever it is. Everyone has very short attention spans. And so your website has to load very quickly, especially on the phone. Because they're on their phone because they don't have a lot of time. They're busy. They're trying to look up really quick. They might be, sitting at an intersection in the car, or, in the middle of something, a little break, and they're quickly looking up something, right? That has to load really quickly. If it doesn't load quickly, they're going to get impatient and they're going to jump and find the next web page in the Google search to check out.
Yeah.
So it's very important that your site is very quick, and accessible, and can be viewed exactly the way you want it to be viewed on all devices.
Yeah, excellent. So now you're not encouraging people to be in their cars on the phone. Is that
No,
just be clear?
Not
Right?
encouraging
Please
it.
don't.
Not encouraging it. I know it happens.
It never happens.
I just heard an ad about that. Like the person at night where like you just see like this glowing, like they're hey, we don't see you on your phone, right? So Paula, let's take us home. Any other thoughts, tips, strategies, how to build trust, responsive? Jason just covered responsiveness. Any other tips and strategies for how to make that great first impression for our folks?
No, I think we said some really good takeaways. Like really, all of that is a little bit complicated when you're trying to create a responsive website and making sure it loads fast. Like there's a lot of technicality. So there's some really great. I think that website builders have come a long ways to helping ease that process. So really rely heavily on those. But when in doubt, definitely it doesn't hurt to hire someone to help you with that. AI can do somewhat too, can build some really, I guess, amazing websites. I haven't really dove in that personally. I've just seen, the socials talking about it, but it's always important to just make sure that you have like that human touch looking at and making sure that you are testing those, the responsiveness, the speed, and making sure that it looks good on all your devices. That's always going to be probably the number one advice you'll get from any web developer, is just making sure it actually looks right on every device you plan on or looking to target to view your content.
Drop the mic there, Paula. That was perfect. So way to close us out. Damon, parting thoughts, words of wisdom, anything that you want to share?
No, I think it's great stuff covered here, and it just really comes back again to understanding your customer, making sure you're grabbing their attention with their biggest pain points, as Paula said, making it come quick, as Jason was talking about, and then driving home the problems you solve succinctly. And then how do you do business with you? What's the next step? And leave it there. I mean, your website, you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on a website that does absolutely nothing, right? Yeah. It can look beautiful. It can be as good as any Fortune 100 company if you wanted to, but never convert a single visitor. A simple and effective website is one of the best investments you can make if it addresses those things.
And if I could just add a little bit more to that, visuals are fantastic. Visuals are important but it's not the most important thing. Again, like some of the highest converting pages in history of the internet have been some of the ugliest pages, some of the plainest pages, and they've converted amazingly. And that's because of the content, and you're saying saying the things that need to be said exactly the way that your end user needs to hear it, your customer. So
give them chills.
And if you don't know, or you're not sure if your website's doing that, ask your customers. There's nothing wrong with asking their feedback. Like, hey, have you been on our website recently? Give us your feedback. Let us know. Well, how was the interaction with it? If they're not already sharing that information free willy-nilly, ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. It may be growing, maybe a little bit painful to listen, but I mean that you don't grow without a little bit of pain. So
great advice there. So hey, Damon, we got a couple
of comments here. Yeah, Harry's dropping by to say happy Friday. Thanks.
Happy Friday, Harry.
Yeah, speed is critical for me. If the site is slow, I bounce, Jason. That's what Harry's saying there. We got Mabs is saying responsiveness of the website is a must. Yeah, that was something that's gotten easier, obviously, as websites have improved and stuff. That was tough a while ago. And then Rosie said, interesting. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and dropping your comments. We love it.
Yeah. And so, and Damon, Harry is just such an awesome dude. He's here every Friday, and I had a grandfather, his name was Harold, and I loved him endearingly, and they called him Harry. And I am so thankful that my family didn't name me Harry, because it wouldn't have worked out really well for me. You know? Imagine if I was Harry, that would not have gone well. So anyway,
Yep.
Harry, happy Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. We're going to wind down. We have some really cool topics coming up, but you know what? Next week, it's a little family week this week. So, Damon, we're not going to be going live. It's for those that celebrate Easter, taking a little break next week. So we won't be here next Monday or next Friday. We'll be back the following week. We're going to be pulling Paula and Jason back on with us. We have all sorts of fun things. We're going to be diving into SEO strategies for manufacturers, more website design strategies for manufacturers. And man, we're going to have a really good time.
Oh, yes. It's going to be
awesome.
good.
All right, let's close it out. So, hey, God bless you guys out there. Go out, have an amazing, incredible, safe, wonderful weekend. Keep crushing it. Take a peek at your website, and you too, man. Just go out and make yourself a great first web impression. And we would love to hear what's going on in your world, and you'll go out and crush it. Damon, why don't you close this out?
All right, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. We're going to be done for now, but if you are looking to make a great first web impression and talk about website design for manufacturers, and you got in here late, go back to the beginning and start over. There's going to be some golden nuggets for you to listen to. And if you need some help with that, you can sure reach out to Curt, Jason, Paula, or myself, and we can talk about it a little bit more. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Happy Friday, Diane.
Don't drive distracted.
Yeah, Diane, thanks for stopping by. Oh, Rosie said happy weekend too.
Happy
Thanks,
weekend.
everyone.
Happy weekend,
Take care,
guys.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.